So before we finish, I want to touch upon the pros and cons of the RAG or RAG technique. On the pro side, RAG reduce um, made up information or hallucination by the LLM because you explicitly provide the context and you ask the LLM to answer within that context only. And because you can provide a context, you can to the LLM. Therefore, the LLM can have more updated information or specific information that the LLM hasn't seen during its training, such as your proprietary document and so on. And because you know what context the LLM will provide an answer based on, it provides you with a way to probe or see the information that leads to the LLM conclusion. So provide you with transparency. And using the technique, you don't need to fine tune your model. So it saves you cost and technical challenges to do that. On the con side, because you need to provide context for the large language model to work and answer, you need to you will use up tokens and use up contextual length and therefore cost associated with it. Because you also have long context length, it takes time to compute. And one of the key things is that this technique relies heavily on your quality, the quality of your documents. So if the document contains gibberish, noise, poor standard, too many jargons, very specific jargon, and redundancy in the documents, it's going to lead to poor RAG performance as well. You can look up online about challenges in RAG. There are so many papers that have reported these problems. So yeah, it relies heavily on the standard of your documentations. So before we close off, I just want to give you a complete picture of where this RAG falls into building a chatbot that you want. From this paper, um, on the x-axis you have model adaptation required, where on the left side you don't need to adapt your model at all, meaning you don't need to fine-tune the model. But on the right hand side you have a necessity to fine-tune the model. For the y-axis, it's the level of external knowledge that you need to provide to the model. On the low side, you don't need to provide model anything. On the high side, you need to provide context for the model to work well. Typically, people will wrestle with prompt engineering. Uh, when you use your ChatGPT for personal uses, probably you are in this type of domain. For example, you want to ask, okay, ChatGPT, help me create a blog post for my social media campaign. My company is running restaurants and so on. You don't need to adapt the model. You use the model as frozen, and you don't provide much information to it. That could work, but in terms of enterprise search, where you want an answer that is very specific to your domain knowledge, and the LLM hasn't seen that before, you enter the RAG territory which is a topic that we covered so far. And there are so many levels of complexity of RAGs. I just show you the naive RAG or the basic RAG, but there are researchers ongoing exploring about advanced technique and modular RAG search as well. On the right hand side of the x-axis you have model adaptation, and this is where you actually need to fine-tune the model. For example, like GPT models are trained on general public. It doesn't know languages of a lawyer or languages of biochemistry, molecules, or DNA design, for example. So in order for the model to understand that domain specific language as well, you need to fine tune it. So that's on the right hand side. But again, even if you fine-tune the model, you might need to provide more information, more context to the model. So you're in the top right corner regime where you need both fine-tuning and RAG technique to squeeze out the performance of your chatbot system. Thank you very much for watching our video. If you like it, leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Case Done by AI, and see you at our next video.